Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about my pregnancy test line, when it showed, and how it can actually trick you if you've had the trigger shot whilst having fertility treatment. So just a little bit of background on me. I have had IUI and IVF, and I've also had 2 miscarriages with my IVF treatment. The reason that I've decided to share my fertility journey with you is because when I was going through this, my source of information and my comfort was YouTube, and I always knew that I wanted to give back when I felt ready, and I now feel ready to share my story with you. There are lots of other videos that you can find on my YouTube video regarding fertility treatment. I've got a video on how it all works and how to improve your chances, what I ate, what I did, and the things I feel helped me conceive. During our fertility journey, we made a decision that we were going to test pretty soon on, way before the clinics advised us to test. 1, because we're really impatient, and 2, I just wanted to see what was going on. And at first I was really excited to see when my body was going to be pregnant and what day the line would show on. Something to take into consideration here is that I am talking to you having had fertility treatment, so you may be able to pick up on some of these things that I'm talking about if you are trying to conceive naturally. But this video and my story is about fertility treatment and the drugs that come with fertility treatment. During my IUI treatment, I would let the clinic know when my body was ovulating. They would instruct me to take a trigger shot. So I would inject my stomach with a hormone that would then release the egg, so that when the clinic did the insemination, theoretically, the egg and the sperm should meet at exactly the right time. Something the clinic didn't tell me about with the trigger shot is that it will show up on a pregnancy test that you are pregnant. It releases a hormone in your body that shows up as pregnant. I'm not a medical professional, I don't know what that hormone is, but it will show on a pregnancy test that you are pregnant. Here is an example, as I kept all of my pregnancy tests. Okay, so here are my pregnancy tests from my 3rd insemination. So I tested the whole way through. Obviously you can see here I was completely obsessed because I was just testing AM, 2 AMs, PMs. So this is what it looks like with the trigger shot. So there's clearly a line. And you can see as the trigger shot is starting to fade, your hope and your goal is that it starts coming back again. And in my case, it did. But just be aware that if you have your insemination, so we had our insemination on the 2nd of January, just be aware that if you're going to test on day, whatever that is, 5 DPO, which is what I did, there is still going to be a line, and you don't want to get your hopes up if that is just the trigger shot or fertility drugs. When you look at it, it kind of never really went away. I can see a really faint line, it just gets darker. But I've seen some of these people's that, you know, just don't come back. They're there and then they just fade. But this is what it will look like with a successful pregnancy. So when did my pregnancy tests show a positive line? So on my IUI treatment, I had a proper visible line, I would say, on 11 DPO. And having researched on YouTube, as I did avidly, that was kind of the general, what people were getting. It was around 11 DPO. I mean, yes, I did have a line before that, but a good prominent line showed for me on 11 DPO. With the IVF, the egg was already 5 days old, so they put in the frozen embryo once it had reached 5 days old, and we had a positive test on 6 DPO after the insemination. So with your fertility treatment, once you've had your positive pregnancy test, the clinic will ask you to come back into the clinic and get a blood test just to determine whether or not they can see the pregnancy on the blood test. So that'll also determine whether or not you're worried it might still be the trigger shot or not, or any other medication for that matter. One thing to remember here is that that's just my story of how I got my lines and how I saw that I was pregnant. What you've just seen is my story. You'll go on to watch other YouTube videos, that will be their story. This is your story, and just because I've had a positive pregnancy test at 11 DPO or 6 DPO, you might get it at 5 DPO, you might even get it at 14 DPO. Just give yourself time. It's so hard to get lost in other people's stories, and the more days that go on, you're just thinking, oh my God, I'm not pregnant. But just try and relax and just keep testing, and hopefully your little line will appear and you will get your little miracle. If you liked today's video, please be sure to go onto my channel, because I've got a few other videos on our fertility journey, IUI and IVF, how it all worked and what actually helped me conceive. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you again soon.